Well, I'm just thinking about it, so I might as well talk about it. This is it's a day after the day 45 years ago that my pals and I, we went to Alexander's Sunset Lounge in Browns Mills, New Jersey. This is right next to Fort Dix. You can imagine Alexander's Sunset Lounge in the off hours, but they used to have featured performers there. I don't know what they did anymore, but in 1979 they had different shows there, and my buddies and I, we went to see Lowell George, the incomparable Lowell George, who was on a solo tour. He had broken away from Little Feat to promote an album called Thanks I'll Eat It Here, which is, you know, that's what it is. But my pals and I, I'm not going to name them, but we got really good seats for Lowell George. And boy, were we kids. Boy, were we kids. And here comes Lowell George, and Lowell George, in the last 5 days of his life or so. I mean, the band opens for him, and the band is just completely outrageous. The band is just so, like a 10-piece thing, or whatever, and it was like James Brown thing, right? And then here comes Lowell George, and Lowell George has to be escorted out to the microphone. And Lowell George is wearing a white overalls and a striped shirt. And Lowell George is so terribly, terribly overweight. And Lowell George has the eyes of a dead man. And Lowell George is escorted out to his microphone, and Lowell George's guitar is put on, or the strap is put around his shoulder, and it's put in place by someone, and he's just looking forward, and he's just so gone already. And his assistant puts the drumstick in his hand and puts his hand up to the cowbell so that he knows where it is, right? And he starts doing the rhythm for Fat Man in the Bathtub, and all of a sudden, he's there. And for the next however long it was, in Alexander's Sunset Lounge, while the people next to me were sharing what I'm not going to tell you, while my friends next to me are looking at me like, hey you, what about us? What a night of music. Lowell George. They played all of them. The band was fantastic. And at the end of the show, they come out while he's singing Join the Band, and they have a conga line like Desi Arnaz, and there's a woman who's wearing a vest like this. And us 18-year-old boys look at each other and go, yeah! It was an amazing show! Lowell George, Alexander's Sunset Lounge, Browns Mills, New Jersey, Browns Mills, New Jersey, June 26th, 1979. And then he and his band, they took the bus south down the Jersey Turnpike, and they did one more show, and you can read about that. But Lowell George died on June 29th, 1979. We got to see the next to last show that he did, and here I am talking to you about it now. Little feat. Lowell George.